And we are rolling. Cool. Alright. Another video. Drive time with Elle, as always. I do want to do an actual podcast again soon. I just need to organise who's going to be in it and stuff. But for now, you've got me and my beautiful face. I really enjoyed yesterday's video, which went up today, and then I'll put this one up tomorrow. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I had a catch up with my best friend this morning and one of our mentors. We had a good discussion about goals and targets and the next steps, essentially, which brought me on to making this video. So today I want to talk about goals and how comfortable people are, and I don't mean that as in are you comfortable with your goals. I mean what it seems to be as a young person, and it's very easy to fall into this, is comfortability. Obviously you get a job, you get a sort of a situation to then progress onto something, but what a lot of people end up doing is they become too comfortable in the situation that they're in, and it just becomes a rut, and then before you know it, your life's gone away and you're like, oh, what happened there? It's like, oh, comfortable. So two things. First thing, goals. Where are your goals at? What are your goals? Your short, medium term goals. I mean, it is the age old thing, isn't it, that people say you have to have goals, write them down, or whatever this is, your targets, what are they, how do you get there, all this kind of stuff. That's great, and for me, goal setting is a big thing, because in sport, but what I think your goals should do, and this is a bit personal to me, but I believe this should be everyone. I believe that goals should force you into an uncomfortable situation / force you into an uncomfortable line of progress, as in you have to get going, otherwise you're not gonna progress at the speed you want to. So what I mean by that is, the goal should force you to move now, not a goal that's like, oh, in 20 years time I want to be doing this. Yeah, that's all well and good, and we can have long-term goals like that, but what is that making you do? For me, my goals work best when they're short-term. Obviously I've got medium and long-term goals, but short-term goals to where it forces me to get out of bed and do something better today than I did yesterday. What's my goal today? My goal today is to make sure I do, I don't know, make someone smile, or my goal today is to achieve X, Y, and Z. And I'm sure a lot of people do that, obviously, but I feel like a goal is not a goal until it forces you to make movements towards that goal. I know that sounds, and in fact, no, I actually think that sounds pretty good. If your goal is a goal that's making you work, then it is a goal. But if it's a goal that doesn't make you move, then it's just a dream, or what's the word for it? It's just it's just a thought that passes by, and you're not actually going to take action. So for me personally, if the goal makes you move, makes you work, makes you deliberately improve to achieve that goal, then it's a goal. So that's my philosophy on goals, and I think that we all should be making that a priority to achieve what we want to achieve, especially as young people. Young people that I've seen, especially generations that are coming after me, are not goal setting nearly as much as we used to, and as a result we we get onto the second part of the second part of the video, which I want to talk about, which is getting stuck in a routine. Now, don't get me wrong, routine is fantastic. You need a routine to keep your schedule going, to keep your repetitions up, all that kind of stuff throughout life. Routine is good, but when you get into a routine, I wouldn't say no. Routine is good, ruts are bad. So when you get yourself into a rut, especially a working rut where you're at the same job for God knows how long, I mean, you can be at the same job for the rest of your life if you love it, by all means, but what I mean is when there's no targets involved with that comfortability, then that's when it starts becoming a problem, especially for an individual. So to combine the two, if you are in a situation where you are comfortable, quote unquote, then great. But how are you making that situation uncomfortable? Not in a negative way. How are you making yourself use your How are you making yourself better in your environment than you were yesterday by making yourself uncomfortable? Or maybe uncomfortable is the wrong word. Maybe how are you making yourself better by trying new things or trying to change things up a bit? And by doing that and putting yourself in that position, you then invite new opportunities to progress and improve as a person. If we are in the same state of comfortability for the entirety of our lives, we do not grow. We grow very slowly, very limitedly. Well, we grow in a very limited manner if we are not pushed out of our comfort zones. So I think what I'm trying to get at about today's video is how are you pushing yourself past the boundary of comfortability? Because if we are comfortable and we don't have the goals to push us out of that comfortability, then it invites, and more than most of the time does encourage, a very stagnant progression. For some people, that's all they want to do in life. Great, but I feel like this channel and what we're about is about trying to improve, and what we are about is trying to improve ourselves every day, even more than we were the day before. And I feel like if our goals aren't pushing us forwards into a new arena or a different version of our current arena, then it's not really worth our time. I feel like the generations that are coming through now that obviously finish education or something like that and then just get a regular 9-to-5 job, it's a safe option obviously, and it's can bring a nice salary and whatnot, but at the same time, those people are the people who aren't going to progress and improve as individuals, and therefore the long-term effects will be a lot worse than someone who is not in as stable environment but is progressing as an individual. If you're doing that, then the future is so much brighter. If you start off in a very comfortable position, then it's difficult to push yourself into an uncomfortable position, which in turn then grows you as a person. I hope that made sense. So struggle early on. If I'm going to narrow it down to anything, I feel like if you are struggling early on and you faced adversity and you've got goals that are going to push you past the boundary of what you think you should be able to do, then great. I feel like that's the best way as you grow as a human, because as we know and we've said on the channel before, we grow mostly from when we are in tough situations and we learn from mistakes. So having the goals to push yourself into the unknown or into the environment which you're least comfortable, then I feel like you're on a winner. I know that's worked for me many times in the past. Businesses that I've started that have failed, and they've brought me and pushed me forward into successful businesses, because you've learned from the mistakes in the past. But I would not have been there if I hadn't have pushed past the boundary that I was able to to achieve just by setting goals and putting myself in that situation. One of my favourite quotes of all time, it was T.S. Eliot, said, the people who push themselves too far are the only people who know how far they can go. Now for me, that's like perfect. If you're not pushing yourself to the point where you can't go any further, then how do you know how much potential you've actually got? Until you're doing that, you don't know what your untapped potential is. And that definitely is one of my favourite quotes, and I'm actually going to post it on my Instagram story because I've just remembered it and it's going to be fun. Yeah, I feel like that's a good video. I feel like that was a good subject to talk about, because how do we become uncomfortable? You know, let me know. What are your thoughts, feelings and opinions on it? How do you see yourself pushing yourself past the boundary? How do you see yourself achieving the next level through being uncomfortable with your goals? Yeah, so let me know. Leave a like, don't forget to subscribe. This was Drive Time with Elle again. Love this series, I'm really enjoying it. But yeah, let me know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.